Today I want to talk about something very ordinary in my life consumption. On surface, it's just buying things, paying bills through it online. But the more I live with it, the more complicated it becomes. In my real life, it affects my time, my relationships, and even how I see myself. What bothers me most is the feeling after buying something. I often ask myself, did I really need this, or was I just impulsive? That little voice of guilty follows me around every time I spend money. Before I then started consumption, I saw consumption as a moral problem. I thought if I overconsume, it means I lack self control. If I buy something I don't need, I must be undisciplined. So the problem was always me, and I blame myself every single time. But now, I realize this way of thinking is too narrow. This layer and Gazan Schwartz argue that consumption is not just personal choices, it's shaped by social structure, cultural meaning, and relationship. So now I stop asking, am I good or bad? And I start asking, how did I get here? What pushing me? This layer introduced the idea of productive leisure. That means consumption is not passive, it can be active. For example, I often wander around the supermarket without a plan. I used to think that was a waste of time, but now I see. I'm comparing choices, forming preference, learning what I like. I'm not just buying things, I'm slowly shaping who I am. Getting shorter further this idea. She shows consumption carries symbolic meaning. She says consumption is not just object itself, it's about what it means. So actually we don't just buy objects, we buy meanings. For example, after a long time study, I sometimes reward myself with something expensive, like a camera. It's not just a product for me, it represents the kind of person I want to become. But here is where the problems start. Gazan Schwartz makes me think consumption is about expressing who I am, but Bill complicated this picture. He argued that we build our sense of self through what we own the camera, the bag, the thing I buy, they become part of who I think I am. However, those meanings are not purely mine. Beck says the value of possessions is mostly shaped by what mainstream society expects. So when I buy that camera as a reward, am I really expressing my true self? Or am I just buying into a story that society has already written for me? Bell helped me to see that consumption is not just a mirror of my identity, it's also a performance for an audience I didn't choose. I'm not saying every purchase is fake, but I can no longer pretend that my free choices are untouched by social pressure. However, consumption is not all bad, right? Foster shows that tourism consumption can help people engage with history and understand others. Foster started a museum in Broome, Australia, that tells the dark history of pearl diving. And tourists pay to hear that real but uncomfortable story. That shows me consumption can also connect us to the world. I feel that feeling when I watch travel videos or read about other culture online. But this connection is not natural. I used to think I could freely choose what to watch or what to buy online. But Broom shows that algorithm constantly track my behavior, captured my preference, and push content back to me in a carefully designed loop. What I see is already filtered, what I want is already nudged. But it's not just algorithm. Kupata, Brooks, and the Abrahams found that even when people realize they are being posited as consumers, they often feel that they cannot escape that role. This is exactly how I feel. I know my choices are being shaped, but I still click, I still throw, I still buy. So now I see consumption as attention. It's helped me to express myself, but also pressure me to fit in. It connects me to the world, but also limits what I see. And that tension is not my personal failure. It's built into the system. So I no longer label consumption as a simple good or bad. The most important thing is awareness. Now, before I buy something, I ask myself, is this what I really want, or am I being pushed by trends, by algorithm, by pressure? I don't always get the right answer, but just asking the question changed something. Now, let's back to the first question. What does consumption mean to me? Consumption connects me to myself through identity. Consumption connects me to others through social meaning. Consumption connects me to the world through media and culture. So I don't think we can escape consumption because we live in it every day. Consumption is never completely free and is never completely controlled. It exists somewhere in between. So the most important thing is not to stop consuming, but to understand why I consume,